Silent nights descend upon marble halls, where lamps bow low before ancient walls. The moon stands still above gilded domes, listening to sorrow that never roams. A prince walks alone through corridors wide, with footsteps echoing secrets inside. Crowns glitter heavy upon his head, yet dreams lie restless upon his bed. Silence speaks louder than trumpet and drum, in royal chambers where tears go numb. Velvet curtains hide a trembling soul, a fractured heart playing a perfect role. He smiles by day like a polished blade. At night his strength begins to fade. Stars watch closely, knowing his name, witnesses sworn to a quiet pain. The desert wind knocks gently at night, carrying memories dressed in light. Every grain of sand remembers his cry. Every dune has seen the prince sigh. Thrones are cold when the world sleeps. Promises ache that the heart still keeps. Gold cannot soften a lonely breath, nor silence bargain away from death. He rules an empire drawn in command, yet cannot rule his own heart's land. Orders travel from tongue to sea, but love never answers his plea. The night grows deeper, the candles thin, battles awaken buried within. He removes the crown, sets it aside, revealing the boy the prince must hide. Mirrors reflect a weary face, eyes that have traveled time and space. They've seen betrayal dressed as fate, and loyalty arrive too late. Silent nights teach patience to pain, like deserts waiting years for rain. The prince learns suffering's quiet art, smiling with lips, bleeding with heart. Palaces sleep, guards stand still. The moon obeys no royal will. Even power bows to sorrow's might. In the kingdom of endless night, letters unread lie locked away. Words unsent decay with day. He writes to love that never stayed, ink dissolving, courage delayed. Footsteps of memory cross his mind, faces lost, promises resigned. He loved once pure, without a crown, before the world taught him to drown. The night remembers who he was, before the title, before applause, before the throne, before the lie, before he learned how princes cry. Pain sits quietly beside his throne, a faithful friend he's always known. It doesn't speak, it doesn't scream, it simply lives inside each dream. Silent nights stretch long and slow, teaching truths daylight won't show. That strength is born from unseen scars, and kings are broken under stars. He hears his heartbeat count the years, measured not in gold but tears. Each pulse whispers what crowds ignore. Prince is human, nothing more. The night forgives what day condemns, wraps his wounds like ancient hymns. In darkness he removes disguise, lets sorrow fall from royal eyes. O silent nights, keep his pain, do not let the world profane. For if his sorrow meets the sun, the battle will already be won. Let the moon guard what he feels, what no commandment ever heals. Let silence be his only crown, until the dawn comes gently down. And when the morning calls his name, he'll rise again, unchanged in frame. A prince by oath, by fate, by law, a wounded heart the night once saw. The dawn hesitates beyond the eastern gate, as if it, too, respects the prince's fate. Night lingers, unwilling to depart, knowing it shelters a fragile heart. The prince remains where shadows blend, between the start and the quiet end. His breath is slow, his thoughts untamed, each memory softly, sharply named. He traces scars the world can't see, battles fought in secrecy, wars of loyalty, love, and trust, dreams reduced quietly to dust. The silence hums like distant prayer, an unseen presence always there. It knows the weight he cannot share, the burden stitched into royal air. Outside, the city sleeps in faith, believing in his shield, his wraith. They dream in peace beneath his reign, unaware it's built on pain. Every bell, every oath he swore, echoes louder than before. Promises carved in sacred stone, yet each one carried alone. He wonders if crowns can ever know the cost they ask, the price they owe. If thrones could speak, would they confess how power feeds on tenderness? The moonlight spills on ancient art, painted victories tearing his heart. Faces proud in frames of gold, None dared show what nights withhold. He kneels where kings before him knelt, repeats the prayers they must have felt, asking strength not to command, but to keep whole what sorrow planned. Silent nights stretch like endless seas, waves of thought, no guarantees. Hope floats faint like broken wood, still alive though misunderstood. He remembers laughter, simple, small, before destiny built its wall. A time when love was not a threat, and loss was not a certain debt. Now affection feels like treason, joy a crime with no clear reason. He guards his heart as he guards land, with steady eyes and shaking hand. The night watches him pace the floor, each step a question, nothing more. Is sacrifice the price of rule? The silence answers, calm and cruel. Candles die one by one in line, as if counting his lost time. Wax weeps slowly to the ground, mimicking a tearless sound. He presses fingers to his face, trying to slow the inward race. A prince must not be seen to fall, even when alone with walls. Yet walls have learned his quiet cries. They know the truth behind his eyes. Stone remembers every plea, every night's sincerity. Silent nights are loyal friends. They never judge how sorrow bends. They hold his weakness without shame, asking nothing, taking blame. He whispers names the past erased, faces loved, then displaced. Some by fate, some by deceit, some by choices bittersweet. Regret arrives without a sound, sits beside him, tightly bound. It doesn't speak, it doesn't leave, just waits for him to breathe. Outside, the first bird dares to sing, a fragile note of awakening. The prince lifts eyes, heavy, sore, knowing night will fade once more. He stands again, adjusts his crown, locks the pain he can't put down. Daylight asks him to be strong, to pretend nothing went wrong. But the night knows, and so does he, what strength truly has to be. Not the absence of despair, but carrying it everywhere. As dawn breaks gold on palace stone, the prince steps forward, still alone. Silent nights retreat from view, taking his secrets old and true. Yet when the world again grows still, and moonlight climbs the distant hill, silent nights will know his name, and welcome back the prince's pain. Night will return, as it always does, faithful to grief, impartial to cause. The prince knows well its patient way, how darkness waits for crowned decay. The sun completes its daily show, applause of gold begins to slow. Voices fade in marble halls, even echoes learn when silence calls. Servants retreat, torches dim, the palace exhales, heavy, grim. Once more the prince stands unobserved, from borrowed smiles at last uncurved. He loosens armor not of steel, but rules that say what he must feel. Behind closed doors, beneath the stars, he counts the cost of who they are. The night asks nothing, gives him space, allows the truth upon his face. No banners here, no watchful eyes, only honesty without disguise. He sits where moonlight touches stone, a throne unused, a man alone. Power sleeps when silence reigns, leaving room for private pains. His heart speaks softly, barely loud, words not meant for any crowd. It asks of love, of warmth, of rest, questions no decree can test. He wonders if another life might free him from this gilded strife. If somewhere far from duty's call, he'd simply rise or simply fall. But destiny has marked his breath, with ink made deep of life and death. A prince is born, not merely crowned, by choices never truly found. Silent nights keep ancient score, of kings who stood where he stands now. Each one believed they bore alone, yet sorrow echoes, throne to throne. He hears them now in whispered air, voices cracked by old despair. Not of conquest, not of fame, but of love they never claimed. A father's shadow crosses time, a ruler strict, a soul confined. Be strong, the memory repeats, strength measured in withheld defeats. The prince obeyed, as sons are taught, turning feeling into thought, locking tears behind his eyes, calling silence sacrifice. Yet silence grows like untold fire, consumes the heart it meant to guard. Every night it spreads its flame, burning softly, leaving shame. He presses palm against his chest, feels the ache he can't confess. A kingdom rests within his hands, while his own heart barely stands. The stars seem closer on these nights, as if drawn by quiet fights. They shine without demand or fear, teaching him to persevere. He speaks to them in voiceless tone, sharing truths he's never known. They listen without reply, yet somehow answer by their sky. Silent nights are where he bleeds, not with wounds but silent needs. Needs for touch, for being known, for being more than flesh and throne. A tear escapes, betrays the rule, falls unheard, transparent, cruel. It meets the floor, no witness there, yet changes something in the air. The prince does not wipe it away, lets honesty have its say. For even kings must sometimes kneel before the truths they dare not feel. Time slows, then almost disappears, measured now in breaths, not years. The night wraps him in patient grace, a quiet, unforgiving embrace. Soon dawn will come with its demand, this rigid smile its royal brand. But now, in this forgiving dark, he rests within a fragile spark. A spark of hope, not loud or bold, not forged of steel or minted gold. Just the thought so faint, so slight, that pain can soften in the night. And if the world never should know the depth of sorrow he must hold, let silent nights remember well the truths daylight could never tell. The hours drift like falling ash, each moment soft, each memory harsh. The prince remains where shadows breathe, between the truths he can't retrieve. Night deepens, thicker than before, as if it knows there's still much more. More wounds unnamed, more prayers undone, more battles lost before they've won. He leans against the palace rail, feels cold stone tell an older tale of kings who stared into the same dark, searching their souls for a single spark. Their names are etched in silent stone, but none record how they were alone. History writes of power and land, not trembling hearts, not shaking hands. The prince reads past in the wind's low tone, a language grief has always known. It speaks of love denied by fate, of moments missed arrived too late. He recalls a voice, gentle, kind, a warmth the world taught him to bind, a love that asked for nothing grand, just truth, just time, just hand in hand. But crowns demand a colder vow, one that forbids the tender now. So he let go, not out of pride, but duty standing, love denied. Silent nights remember her name, though he no longer speaks the same. The moon still carries what he lost, a happiness too high in cost. He wonders if she looks at stars, if she feels echoes, faint but far, if some unspoken thread remains, still tying joy to royal pain. The thought both warms him and cuts deep, a wound that never learned to sleep. For love remembered hurts the most, a living ache, a gentle ghost. The palace clock begins to chime, each sound a theft of precious time. He counts them not as passing hours, but chances lost to unseen powers. Power, they say, can bend the world, yet leaves the heart forever curled. The prince commands the rise of seas, but cannot quiet memories. He turns away from window light, walks deeper into guarded night. Corridors stretch like endless thought, each step with meaning thickly wrought. Portraits watch with painted pride, eyes that never truly cried. He pauses, studies their calm gaze, wondering what they chose to erase. Did they love? Did they despair? Or were they trained not to care? Did silent nights also hear their whispered doubts, their private fear? He bows his head in quiet grace, honoring an unseen race of rulers bound by silent law to bleed in dark, in light to awe. A breeze moves through the open hall, brings desert scents, both dry and raw. Sand remembers every tear, each one fallen year to year. The prince inhales, closes eyes, lets memory freely rise. Childhood laughter, barefoot days, before his name was carved in praise. Before the crown, before the throne, before he learned to stand alone. Before his heart was taught to wait, and love was weighed against his fate. Silent nights cradle these truths, these fragments of his hidden youth. They ask him not to change the past, only to feel it while it lasts. He sits upon the cold floor stone, no guards, no titles, just bone. A human shape beneath the crown, stripped of the role the world bows down. In this moment, small and bare, he allows himself despair, not as weakness, not as sin, but proof of life still held within. The night does not rush him away. It knows sorrow needs its stay. Healing grows where pain is named, where tears are felt, not falsely tamed. Far away, the sky turns pale. The night begins its final veil. Soon he must rise, compose his face, return to power, poise, and grace. But something in him subtly shifts, a strength no daylight ever gifts. The knowledge deep and quietly won. He is not alone even as one. For silent nights will always be the place where he is truly free, where the prince, unguarded, plain, may lay down power and speak pain.